I get like so many panic attacks over thinking about tomorrow. I don't think about the future right now. I look at the money in my bank account. I say, today, this is how much money you have in your bank account. You can buy food. How are we having to choose between buying food and paying rent? How is this even happening right now?
Hello.
Tam and her flatmates are 4 weeks behind on their rent and are now being threatened with eviction. The pandemic has seen Tam's photography business collapse and her flatmate has lost her job.
We've always paid our rent on time and we really take care of the property and we really love our home. So we emailed them saying, hey, look, we really cannot pay this month's rent. She would call me and bully me into giving an answer about how much money can I pay. She even said to our flatmate, we are still doing evictions in Victoria. We are still doing evictions in Victoria. So yeah, get that in your head. We're still doing evictions in Victoria.
Significant of those is that state and territories will be moving to put a moratorium on evictions of persons as a result of financial distress if they are unable to meet their commitments.
In late March, the National Cabinet agreed to a 6-month moratorium on evictions for people whose income had been impacted by the pandemic. But the federal government left it to the states and territories to figure out exactly how that would work.
There's no rule book for this. We need you to sit down, talk to each other and work this out.
The government has told us that we need to handle negotiations, but look how well my negotiations are going. I'm being told to vacate. I'm being told that in Victoria there are still evictions. I'm being told that I will have to pay back all my arrears.
But despite the PM's comments, in most states, tenants like Tam can still be evicted, just not if they can't pay their rent because of COVID-related hardship. A landlord can still evict for other reasons, like wanting to renovate, sell the property, or if the tenant breached the tenancy agreement in some other way. Tasmania, though, is one of the few exceptions, banning almost all evictions until June 30th. To keep evictions to a minimum, certain states are offering some support to renters and tax breaks to landlords who keep tenants in their properties.
A lot of people still are at risk of eviction, and really what this process doesn't address is the underlying power imbalance between landlords and tenants.
There's been a lot of talk of freezing evictions for a 6-month period. To date, I mean, according to Consumer Affairs, there has been no change in the law with regards to that, so it really is business as usual.
Mark Rabarski is a property manager in Melbourne.
There's been a lot of tenants, probably about 15 or so tenants that we've been dealing with that have made claims that weren't legitimate. So things like, I'm just asking if they need to pay rent anymore, and they've also claimed falsely to have lost their jobs.
So some of my favourite comments on this landlord discussion thing is, everyone is feeling this, not just renters. This is ridiculous. With all the government handouts, there is no excuse not to pay rent. Be fucking accountable. Maybe this is what your mum meant when she told you to save up for a rainy day.
It directly will come out of the landlord's pocket. So it's quite frightening as to where this could go. And being a landlord myself, it does, I guess, put you in a bit of a nervous grounds.
So some of the landlord groups are very scary, given the fact that they basically hold the roof over our heads.
I couldn't believe it, that we're in a scenario where we've got these tenants just calling up and just testing us out. Unfortunately, it's just human nature, I think. So
we didn't know this was going to happen. If I had known this was going to happen, I wouldn't have started my own business. But hindsight's hard when there's a global pandemic happening.
People are very worried, they're very scared about what's going to happen to both their homes and their finances in the months and years to come.
Our rent is due again in like 3 days, and I don't know how to pay double rent in 3 days. It keeps building up into this bigger amount of money. I can't just magic money up. I don't have the ability to. I haven't heard back from Centrelink. I applied on the 20th of March. There's no help right now. I feel like I'm begging people, I'm begging the government to help, and I don't feel like any help is coming.
Hey, if you enjoyed that, make sure you subscribe to The Feed's YouTube channel.
And you can watch these videos here. See you next time.